Karl Marx and Socialism. Karl Marx was a German philosopher born on May 5, 1818. He was one of the 9 children of Heinrich Marx, a lawyer that supported Prussian reform. Karl himself spent time studying at home, as well as going to the Jesuit high school and later the University of Bonn. Afterwards, he enrolled into the University of Berlin, where he studied law and philosophy. It was there he learned more about politics and became more politically zealous himself. After marrying Jenny von Westphalen, he moved to France, then Brussels, where he wrote works about politics and philosophy. It was in Brussels where he had done some of his most important work. He created the Communist Correspondence Committee. He condemned utopian ideas because he felt that they were not realistic enough and created his own theory. He created scientific socialism, a new theory based on a scientific study of history. Working together with another German socialist, Friedrich Engels, he created a pamphlet, the Communist Manifesto. This pamphlet, published in 1848, talked about communism. Communism is a form of socialism or a radical solution that Marx supported. Communism is when society has no class and the community controls everything.
In the Communist Manifesto, Marx talked about how economics was the driving force in history. Therefore, socialism was created. Socialism is a political and social theory of organization that was created to end poverty and injustice. Because of socialism, people decided to own and operate the means of production, meaning farms, factories, railways, and other large businesses that produced the necessities that people needed on a daily basis. Socialism was created based on the ideas of Enlightenment faith. It believed in the goodness of people and concerned for social justice. He argued that there were 2 classes of history: the haves and have-nots. The haves were people who owned the means of production and controlled society with their money, also known as the bourgeoisie. On the other hand, the have-nots were the proletariats, or the working class. According to Marx, the modern class struggle pitted the bourgeoisie against the proletariats. The proletariats would then become triumphant. As a result, workers would then control the means of production and create classless and communist society. A society like this would end struggles that people had to endure, now that wealth and power would be equally shared. Marx disagreed with the ideas of capitalism. He believed that it will only make a few people rich and many of them poor. He then declared an international struggle to bring its downfall.
In the beginning, Marxism gained popularity with many people around the world. Leaders of many reform movements adopted the idea that power should be held by workers instead of business owners. In the 1860s, Germany utilized Marx's beliefs to form a social democracy, a political ideology in which there is a gradual change from capitalism to socialism instead of a sudden transition. In the late 1800s, Russian socialists supported Marxism, and the Russian Revolt of 1917 set up a communist-inspired government. For much of the 1900s, revolutionaries around the world would adapt Marxist ideas to their own situations and needs. Independence leaders from Asia, Latin America, and Africa would turn to Marxism. As time passed, failures of Marxist governments would illustrate the flaws in Marx's arguments. He had predicted that workers would unite across national borders to wage class warfare. However, nationalism won out over the working class loyalty. People felt stronger ties to their own country than to the international communist movement. By the end of the 20th century, few nations remained with communist governments, while nearly every economy included elements of free market capitalism.